We will continue reading in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 15. We're going to start with verse 22 in Mark 15. We've been going through Mark 14 and 15 for the last few months. And last week we met Simon of Cyrene, who was just thrust into this position to carry the cross of Jesus. So starting with verse 22 of Mark 15. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. They offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him, dividing up his clothes. They cast lots to see what each would get. It was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The written notice on the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." They crucified 2 rebels with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So, you who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, come down from the cross to save yourself." In the same way, the chief priests and teachers of law mocked him among themselves. He saved others, they said, but he can't save himself. Let this Messiah, this King of Israel, come down now from the cross that we may see and believe. Those crucified with him also heaped insults on him. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Jesus is fully God, and he was fully man in his time on this earth. And when we read about Jesus, we know he had a childhood, scraped his knee, whatever, chased little lambs around, helped his father in the shop or whatever they did. He laughed, he cried, he was hungry, thirsty. Now, he never chose to have a family, but he's part of a big family, lots of friends. One thing Jesus never experienced was being abandoned. As a human being, he never experienced abandonment. He was never deserted by God. He was never rejected by God. But Jesus experienced abandonment on the cross. The judgment of the cross. Remember, the cross is punishment. The punishment that God poured out, God's wrath against sinful humanity, which continues today. Instead of pouring it out on sinful humanity, instead of God pouring out his wrath upon us, he poured it on his son Jesus. And Jesus says, my God, why have you abandoned me?" In this world today, sometimes we feel abandonment, extreme abandonment, sometimes life situations, fear, loneliness, self-esteem, addiction, grief, like really there's people all around us, but emotionally, when stress comes, we feel abandoned. What about you? Have you ever felt abandoned? Separation? I got a phone call this week. Hey, I want to come over and see you. I have an envelope for you. I was surprised. It was a general contractor from a job over 20 years ago. Things went south. All the subs got cut short. We were the masonry subcontractor. He came over the next day and he gave me an envelope. What amounted to $9,000. Over 20 years ago. Close to 30 years. And he said, I don't want to leave this earth without making things right. What about you? You see, there was a separation that this man felt all these years, and he fixed it. Christ died on the cross and took the punishment we deserve so we wouldn't be abandoned by God. And Christ knows what it feels like to be abandoned. So when we're shut off, alone, we even build walls around ourselves. It's just us. Nobody cares. Don't think that way. Jesus knows what you're going through, and he wants you to talk to him. Talk to him. He wants you to talk to him. You are his child. So that's why Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? We're going to move into our communion service, and Bob is going to read from 1 Corinthians 11. Then I will invite you all up in our unconcentric circle we build.